Each and every drop of water is precious. Even a drop of water makes a precious pearl. A drop of water is an important source of producing and protecting nature. Water is life. The Earth is called the blue planet. 70% of it is covered by water. 97.5% of water on our Earth lies in its oceans. 1.88% of it is in the form of ice. 0.02% of it is in rivers, lakes and water bodies. Only 0.09% of it is groundwater. Only 2% of it is drinkable, supporting animals and human life. It is water for which all animals and creatures return every day. All civilizations in the world have been built on riverbanks. This is just because water is life, and nobody can even imagine life without it. 2/3 of our human body is composed of water, yet it survives on only 2% potable water on the Earth's surface. Therefore, looking at its importance, the Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights identifies access to water as a fundamental human right. Mankind uses 89% of water in agriculture and food production, 8% in industry, and only 3% for domestic use, though it varies from country to country. This leaves 10% of people, or virtually 1/6 of the human race, in severe need for drinking water. The rest 60% of its needs are met through rivers, lakes and groundwater aquifers. The future is scary. If scientists are to be believed, statistical prophets of doom would have us believe that mankind will finish 90% of drinking water in the next 25 years, leaving only 10% for animals. These indicators are further strengthened by figures that suggest that 2/3 of mankind have no access to clean drinking water, as a result of which death from waterborne diseases claims 50 million lives every year. But our ignorance and negligence of collecting and saving this precious gift of nature can endanger our lives forever and ever if we fail to understand it. There are very simple solutions to very great problems. Sometimes the solution lies in the problem itself. There are 3 methods of harvesting rainwater, and they are: the movement of water from the point of evaporation through the atmosphere till precipitation over the ground, returning to the point of evaporation, is known as the hydrological cycle. Precipitation, stored in streams, lakes and soil, evaporates, while water stored in plants transpires to form clouds, which store the water in the atmosphere. During the past century, the world population has tripled. Water use has increased 6-fold. Unplanned industrialization and urbanization has followed. Environmental change has appeared. Half the wetlands homes have disappeared. Some rivers don't reach the sea anymore. Henceforth, here is the urgent need for rainwater harvesting and groundwater recharging. You might be surprised to know that this technique is simple because the technology used for collecting and storing water for human use was practiced for more than 4,000 years. The river Ganga in India is regarded as a goddess and for ages is worshipped for its mystical and physical powers. The Ganga is also a major source of surface water, which also recharges the groundwater. Eventually, because of negligence by human beings, the river started getting polluted, first discovered by the eminent environmentalist Professor B.D. Tripathi in 1972, and it was earlier unaccepted by the masses. His researches were discussed in the Lok Sabha on Ganga pollution, and this laid the foundation of the Ganga Action Plan in India, and even in personal advice to the former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. He wrote a book based on scientific research named Ganga, Himalaya se Sagar Tak. His continuous and serious efforts for 28 years forced the Government of India to declare Ganga as India's national river. In Varanasi, the great nationalist leader, Pandit Madan Mohan Malaviya, dreamt and planned for his keen desire to bring his vision and the Ganga into the Banaras Hindu University and its activities. His vision and his dream was based on the Ganga and its waters. Professor B.D. Tripathi, who was designated as founder coordinator of the Center for Environmental Science and Technology at the Banaras Hindu University, showed his sensitivity to Ganga water pollution and water conservation, just like Pandit Madan Mohan Malaviya. The renowned and the largest university of India called Banaras Hindu University, their strategies to implement the groundwater recharging initiatives was taken up by Professor Tripathi when he developed the demonstration sites for this work. Our efforts towards rainwater conservation at the Banaras Hindu University began inside our campus, where we found 16 tanks and ponds. We now stand in front of one of them that was once famous as Pieni Mai Ki Talao. The neighboring villagers used this for all their religious rituals and their ceremonial prayers. But it was unfortunate that this sacred pond became a dumping place for garbage over the years. In fact, its water levels disappeared as well. Its reputation had receded so far into the past that we were surprised to learn from a neighboring milkman that in his childhood they would use its crystal clear water to dilute their milk for profit. Under the circumstances, our first decision was to clean the pond. In fact, we went ahead and excavated 2,000 truckloads of garbage and refuse. It was only then that we could define our purpose behind our plans for the pond. We asked for volunteers and found ample support from neighboring villagers as well as from university students and faculty. With their voluntary labor, augmented by hired labor, we were able to truly upgrade this large pond to be significantly clean. Ultimately, we wanted to fill it up with clean water where we could successfully rear fish. Our efforts in rearing fish met with great success last year, and this not only earned handsome revenue, but it also became an example for training villagers in the neighborhood. This pond gives them clear indication of the economic advantages of clean water bodies available to them. What was once a garbage dump has now become a source of clean water around the year and an economic opportunity. Villagers inspired by the upgrading of this pond have taken similar tasks and projects in similar neglected and downgraded water bodies in their own areas. They too have begun to successfully rear fish in clean waters, and we are certain that in the not-so-distant future they will take up the long-term tasks of water conservation and groundwater recharging.